Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Nathan Up podcast. We're delighted to be joined by Scott Laird. Won a double promotion with Stevenage, one promotion with Preston, and is now the player assistant manager at Weston Super Mare. So Scott, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. How have you been coping during lockdown?
Like everybody else, I think, just trying to get by, keeping positive, doing lots of jobs around the house. Actually, more busier than I was before lockdown in some weird way. So the wife's keeping me occupied with daily lists to do, and jobs around the house, little odds and bobs. So he just brought me away from painting at the moment. So thank you very much.
No worries.
In terms of football, how did you get into football?
I have three younger brothers, so all my life I've been playing football with them. At an early age, my father was also in football. He set up one of the satellite centres in Plymouth Argyle. So around the Devon, Cornwall, Somerset area, there were 4 or 5 little areas where they had little satellite centres, pop-up centres. I was at one of them from about 8 years old onwards, and then progressed to the Centre of Excellence down in Ivy Bridge in Devon, and then went from there really. So yeah, I've been surrounded by football all my life.
What was it like for you playing in the youth system with Plymouth? Was that good?
Brilliant. Down here, there's some great clubs down here. The thing is they struggle with is it's miles away from anywhere. So Plymouth, you're miles away. So I'm already really quite far down in the southwest in Somerset. Plymouth's another hour and a bit on from me. So then you've got Exeter, Torquay. There's loads of great clubs down here that are just so far away from everywhere. But it was great. Met some really good friends that I still keep in touch with now. The youth team that I was in, we had a really good youth team, that players that came and still playing now. So yeah, it was a great. Well, I was there from 9 till 19, so 10 years for me.
Obviously, you've done really well in the youth system, and you attracted interest from sort of Rangers and other sort of big Scottish clubs. What was it like, obviously, having that attention whilst still being in this youth setup at Plymouth?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was actually very close at, I think it was under 14s to being released. Under 15, under 14s, under 15s. That part really changed over from 14s to 15s. And I went to a tournament up in Leeds, and they were going to release me afterwards. I didn't know this. I ended up winning player of the tournament, doing really well, getting scouted for Scotland, and there was Rangers scouts there and other scouts there. So within the space of 3 or 4 days from the start being released to the end of it actually being scouted, and then it really changed in there. Something changed in my mind, maybe the confidence, knowing that people wanted you and liked you. And I went on from there and really kicked on, and got into the Scotland setup and love that. I haven't got the accent obviously, but all my family is Scottish, my dad's side, so I was brought up supporting Glasgow Rangers. I was brought up being a Scotland fan, so yeah, or brainwashed, you could say.
And as you said, you made a few appearances for Scotland in their under-16s, and I believe all the way up to the under-20s. And you also played for the England C team a few times. How did it feel to sort of represent your country?
Yeah, brilliant. It was amazing. I obviously, as you say there, played for Scotland, I think just over 30 times. I was captain for a lot of them. So it's great to be able to travel the world, play different styles of football, different countries, and that was a really, really big thing for me. And the most enjoyable 4 or 5 years really of my young career, being able to travel around the world, play against some really good players. And then I got the opportunity to play for the England C team, the non-league team, which I thought, you know what, it's a great opportunity for me, and something that just because it's England, I shouldn't not go and play for that. I think it was a great honour, first of all, to be called up to that and to be thought of. So, and I am English ultimately, so yes, I went and played it. It was great.
Obviously, going back to your Plymouth time, you went on a loan quite early on at Tiverton, and you got your first team debut in game time. What was it like? Obviously, we also speak to a lot of players that have been sort of high up and then have loans lower down. What is it, a bit of a culture shock, obviously playing for Scotland and Plymouth and then going down to Tiverton?
It can be, if you don't take it right. I was very lucky in my early life, again, with my father, who was a manager at Bridgewater Town, so they would have been Western League, so 4 leagues below the conference, 4 leagues below the conference, and I made my debut for them when I was 14, so I was used to men's football at a very young age. And I think now it's a massive thing. Now going into management, I would want my young players to go as early as possible play men's football, and that was a really big thing for me. So I was used to playing could get used to playing their own age groups up until 18, even under 23s. You see a lot of Premier League under 23s. All they've been used to when they get to 22, 21, 22, they've just been playing their own age group. Whereas then you go into the men's game and it's a massive culture shock because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're more savvy upstairs, more experienced. So I think for me, I was very lucky at a young age to go and play men's football, and that really, really helped me. So dropping down to Tiverton to get loan and play, that was a massive thing, and I loved it. And I think, again, a really big bit of advice I give to young players is go and play football, no matter what level it is. You need to play football, and there's no substitute for playing games. So I think now speaking to managers, they want players that have played 100 games at non-league men's football than a player that's played 100 games at under 23 level. They want those players that have played men's football under their belt. So, yeah, I think to go out and play at an early age was great for me, and it was really good, really successful.
And then when you returned to Plymouth, I believe you made your debut for them in the League Cup. But if Wikipedia is correct, you didn't feature for the first team after that moment. Was it sort of disappointing?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think even at that age, I knew that it was going to be hard for me to break into the team. I think I did really well in that game. I managed to get man of the match and set up 2 goals, and it was great. But I've never been, all through my careers, someone to just, I was at a young age, I was at a championship club, look at me. I wanted to play football. So the opportunity arose to go and play with Torquay straight after that game because there's a lot of scouts there. Went to Torquay, only played 2 games there, but it was great for me to go and experience that proper league men's football thing. And then Stevenage came along, and the rest, the history speaks to itself. So it was, I didn't want to be at a championship club and just be travelling and sitting on the bench now and again, but I was a championship player. Well, look at me, you know, I never really liked that. It never really sat with me.
Obviously, you mentioned those loans. How important were those loans to Torquay and Stevenage? Obviously, you had a massive part of your career at Stevenage as well.
Torquay was great. So Torquay is my first loan. I was involved. I was on the bench all the time. I only played 2 games. I think it was 2 months I was there, just over 2 months. But I was on the bench for every game, and that was great for me. Not because I didn't play a lot, but because I was actually involved in a professional club all day, all the time. At Plymouth I was all the time, but I was sometimes with the youth team, sometimes with the first team, because it was a championship club. It was run a little bit different. So I was with Torquay in the conference. I was involved, and I felt involved. So it was great for me to understand how it all worked, and then to go to Stevenage after that really set me up really well.
And then you actually, I believe you signed permanently for Stevenage, and I believe there was actually a fee behind the signing. Did you feel the pressure by this?
Yeah, I've never really got to the bottom of what actually happened. I just got told literally on New Year's Eve, it was, by Paul Sturrock. He just said, look, go down across to Stevenage, Peter Taylor. And I thought straight away, Peter Taylor, ex-England manager, you're not going to say no to someone like that. He said, go and play for him because you can stay with me for another 2 years, but you're not really going to feature at the moment because they were struggling at the time. Or you can go and play football. And I saw a great opportunity there. So I literally went straight across to Stevenage New Year's Eve, played the following day, did a month there on loan, and then at the end of January ended up signing permanently. I never know what for. I was led to believe it was a signing on percentage if I got right. Sold. But I don't know. I didn't really care at the time. I was just happy to go and play football. And since then, it was a great 4.5 years it turned out to be.
And then your first season, you narrowly missed out on promotion, but won the FA Trophy, which was the first FA Trophy final at New Wembley. You didn't play in that final. Was it gutting? But that year, you're incredible. 1 player of the season, and you were one of the best players in the conference that year.
Yeah, a tough league conference, really tough, but one I really seem to enjoy. I think I like the battling side. I've always been, especially up to my middle 20s, I was horrible. As soon as I went on the pitch, I was horrible. And I think it really suited my game, the conference. And yeah, I had 2 really good seasons there, or 2.5 really good seasons in the conference with Stevenage. Won a few accolades personally. Got to 2 FA Trophy finals. So yeah, it was really good. Obviously played in one, didn't get to play in the other one because I was sent off in the semi-finals of the playoffs for Stevenage in the league. So I ended up missing the final, which was gutting. But the next year managed to get back there and play at Wembley again. So yeah, it was great.
Was it tough to be suspended for that final?
Yeah, it was horrendous. I'm not gonna lie. It was. I cried a lot. You know, it's not every day you get a chance to play at Wembley, and you never think that chance will arise again. Luckily, I've played there 3 times, but some people don't even get to play there in their whole career. So at that time, I was thinking, will I ever get to play at Wembley again? And it really hurt. As soon as I made the tackle, I knew straight away. As soon as he got the red card out, I was missing Wembley. So yeah, it was a really tough time for me, and I didn't really want to talk to anybody for a few days. Locked myself away in a dark room and just let it all out. And then came back, supported the lads. We won, and then the next year it drove me on the next year to get there again.
And then obviously the year after, you managed to win the conference, but actually it was like a role reversal. You lost the FA Trophy final. Was it just, was you just happy to win the league and you didn't really mind about the trophy, or was it still disappointing to lose the trophy?
No, we were gutted. We worked so hard through the league and through the trophy. We wanted to win that as well, but it just wasn't to be. The main goal was promotion, and we got that. I think we ended up with. I think the record still stands now. We only conceded 24 goals in the whole season, which is incredible. We had the record amount of wins, record points. If it wasn't for Chester getting expelled from the league and then all the results, we beat them twice. That was 6 points taken off our final tally. So we ended up with 105 points, which would still be now the record amount of points. It was a great season for us, but it wasn't really good at the end, losing the FA Trophy, because it would have been nice to finish. But ultimately, we got Stevenage for the first time in their history into the Football League, so that was a really big thing.
And obviously, the season after, you went for back-to-back promotions. Was that always the goal, or was it always sort of like stay up, or did you always back yourselves like, oh, we could go again?
We knew we could go again. The manager we had, Graham Wesley, I know there's a lot of things said about him, good and bad, but he was amazing, and he drove us. He made us think we could beat anybody. We played Tottenham, we played Newcastle in FA Cup runs, Reading. He made us believe that we were better than them, even though we weren't. We knew we weren't, because we were playing League 2, League 1 conference players, and they were Premier League. But he made us feel that we could go toe to toe with them, and that was an amazing thing. So he drilled that into us. So we knew we could win League 2. We didn't win League 2, but we got to the playoffs and we won them. But that was our aim. We knew we could get promoted. We knew that we could go up again. And we nearly went up again in League 1, which I think we'd been the first ever team to go Conference, League 2, League 1 to Championship. But ultimately, we missed out in League 1. I really do think if Graham Wesley didn't go to Preston towards the end of that League 1 season, we would have gone up, because he would have installed in it and made us go up. The new manager that came in, Gary Smith, was a little bit, I don't know, he was happy that we were in the position we were, and he didn't think he probably didn't believe that we were good enough to go up when we actually were. So that was a bit of a hard one to take, because I knew we could have gone up again. But we had a great League 2 season. I'll tell you what, League 2 is probably the hardest league I've played in. Done 2 years in that league, one with Stevenage, one with Forest Green, and it was a tough league. League 1 was a lot easier than League 2.
What did you make of that final where obviously you won promotion in League 2? Was that a great feeling? Obviously, playing the FA Trophy to playing the playoff final is a lot different.
Yeah, it was. It was at Old Trafford as well, so that was great to play at Old Trafford. And it was on TV yesterday. Stevenage Twitter, they put a live streamed it, so I watched that again yesterday. Because I've never really watched it since playing in that game 9 years ago. And even now, even though I knew we were going to win 1-0, my heart was still pounding. So it was a weird thing. I don't really remember the day, really. I don't really remember the night out either, because we got a little bit drunk. But it was amazing. And again, I don't think anyone could believe little old Stevenage, the first time in the Football League, could go and win promotion again. And we proved a lot of people wrong. And I think that was a big thing for us as a team, was proving people wrong.
And you played another crucial part in the League 1 campaign with Stevenage. But then after making 200 appearances in 4 years, you decided to decline the contract that Stevenage had offered you and move to Preston? Why did you choose to do this?
Three things really. One, when you've done what you have at a club and it's the right time to leave, and I felt it was the right time to leave Stevenage. I loved my time there. Second of all, when a club like Preston North End, steeped in their history, asked you to join them, you're silly to say no. And then thirdly, the manager, Graham Wesley, went from Stevenage to Preston, and we just had this. Well, everyone called him my dad, and I used to call him Dad as well. So I would have been silly not to go and join him as well at a great club like Preston, and also it was just the right time to leave. So it was sad to leave, but to go and join Preston and what they want to do was a big drawing point.
Obviously, you've talked about Stevenage, obviously in League One. You see a lot of teams, do well. Not a lot of teams in the conference do well, but do well in the League Two, and then maybe struggle a little bit in League One. But how Stevenage were in League One was incredible. Why do you think that Stevenage was so successful, also really, really good in League One as well? But you think that quality was always there?
Yeah, we had really good players that went on after that Stevenage days to go and play. Ronnie Henry stayed at Stevenage, brilliant player. John Ashton, Mark Roberts, myself. You had Laurie Wilson, went to Charlton, played Championship football. Michael Boswick, now at Lincoln, he's played Championship football. Luke Freeman, obviously now at Sheffield United in the Premier League. We had some really, really good players that went on. So we had a really good side there. And I think, again, proving people wrong was massive. And also, we did a lot of hours in the training ground. We had a manager that pushed us, made us believe we were better than we were, made us put the self-belief in us. And we just knew that we could go on and win another promotion. And we were really, really unlucky in the end to miss out. We lost to Sheffield United in the playoff semis, where really at home we should have been a couple goals to the good, but we drew 0-0. And then at their place it was tough. It was 0-0 right up until I think the 70th or 80th minute. And when you're defending that end at Sheffield United, the cop end, so they call it, when there's like 10, 15,000 people, and when there's that old football cliche, we were defending our box. We weren't defending our box. We were defending in our 6-yard box. We couldn't get out. Like, we were camped in. I was just thinking, this is incredible. Like, the noise, they were literally sucking you in. And it was, and in the end, we lost 1-0. And yeah, it was gutting. It was gutting because I knew I was joining Preston and I wanted to help Stevenage get to the Championship, but it just wasn't to be. So yeah, it was a great 4.5 years, and we achieved some unbelievable things. We played in the FA Cup 5th round with Stevenage at Tottenham, beat Newcastle in the FA Cup, won the FA Trophy, lost in the FA Trophy, 2 promotions. So yeah, it was a great 4.5 years for me.
And in 2012, I believe you suffered a broken leg against Notts County, and I believe after that, the player who challenged you actually rang you every week. And you was out for about 1.5 years. How disappointing was that?
Yeah, it was really disappointing. So that I just joined. It was my first season at Preston. I was doing really well. Played 24 games. I was on 4 goals from left back, and I was on 7 assists from left back. And I was just about to get called up to the Scottish national team. The following day, they were about to announce their side for a game against Slovenia, and I was in it. On the Tuesday night, 94th minute, last kick of the game, just went to cross a ball, and the guy just went to block it, and I kicked the bottom of his studs with my shin, and my leg broke. And you know in football when people have gone to maliciously do you, and he didn't. He didn't try and do me. And I know Jamal Campbell, right? So I knew him, and he's not that type of player. So, and yeah, he did. He spoke to me most weeks how my rehab was going. Everything was all right. Missed the whole of the season, so that was gutting really, because we were doing really well just outside the playoffs at Preston. And ultimately, from then November till January, I think he won 1 game, and Graham Wesley ended up getting sacked. So that was tough as well, because I wasn't able to help. And a manager who I really respected, he obviously left. That was really gutting. Missed the whole season. Came back the following season and played I think 30 games under Simon Grayson, who was another really good manager.
Obviously, you mentioned you were out when Wesley got sacked, and I've seen sort of podcasts with sort of John Parkin and stuff that openly aren't too happy about Graham Wesley. How tough was it, obviously, when the lads in the team weren't sort of, a manager you were so successful under wasn't really getting the sort of getting the results at Preston?
that's football. That's probably every walk of life. You guys know that. There's some people you don't like, but other people do, or there's some people that you really like that other people don't like. So it's opinions, isn't it? And Graham Wesley was a divisive character. He was Marmite. You either liked him or you didn't. But if you worked hard for him and believed in what he wanted you to do and showed passion, showed pride, showed determination, he would do anything for you. And I think some players, if they don't like him, they don't like him. But he got success with teams. He hasn't done so well the last couple of teams he's been at because I think he almost is a little bit stuck in his ways and he won't change or he won't evolve. But I think he has tried to. But some players, I think, weren't used to the amount of work that he wanted you to do. But ultimately, you got paid a good wage to play football in a game that you loved, and all he was doing is asking you to work a couple of hours more than you usually do. So I don't think there's anything wrong in that.
And then you signed a contract with Preston to keep you until the end of summer 2015. In the 2014-15 season, Preston were promoted via the playoffs. And I believe you actually won 4-0 in that final. How were the celebrations after that?
They were good. They were, for me, that was probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing for me, winning that promotion. I played a lot of games that season. I played over 40 games and ended up playing in the first leg of the semi-final. And then I came on a sub in the second leg and came on a sub in the final. So it hurt me a little bit because I played so much that season. And to be left out of the two most important games at the end was hard for me to take. But my whole thing when I left Plymouth in the Championship was I wanted to get back to the Championship, and I'd done that. I had achieved what I wanted. And looking back, after that, I kind of went down a little bit downhill, and I did go downhill. I went down the ladder. So maybe that was a point where I reached what I wanted to do in the game. I reached what my whole drive, my whole thing through my career, early part, was to get back to the Championship, and I'd done that with Preston, and it was a massive moment for me. That was, and yeah, it was a good few days of celebrating.
You ended up rejecting a contract from Preston to stay there, and then you went to Scunthorpe with someone we spoke to, Jack King. What was it like, obviously, signing for Scunthorpe in League One as well?
Again, a bit like Stevenage, you knew when it's the right time to leave. I did 3 really good years at Preston. I thought it was a good time to leave. I knew that my chances would be limited the following season because they were bringing in more players, another left back. So again, I didn't want to be a Championship football player and just be sitting on the bench and playing in the cup games. Again, didn't sit right with me. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to play football. I was at a really good age. I got offered a good contract with Scunthorpe, 3 years stability. Also, 2 of the players at Preston, as you say, Jack King, who's a really good player, really good friend of mine, and Scott Wiseman both went to Scunthorpe. So I thought it was a great opportunity to go and progress and try and help Scunthorpe, who were a team that wanted to do stuff. Didn't really work out, but it was a good time. You know, me and my wife bought our first house together there, so it was a good time really in our personal life. But football-wise, it wasn't the best.
And in your first season at Scunthorpe, I believe you was quite a regular in the squad. But the second season, you wasn't so much, and you went out on loan to Walsall, which for the first time. Do you think that was the right move for you at that time?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's probably got to be careful what I say because Scunthorpe made me sign something. But I joined Scunthorpe in pre-season. I was actually playing some of the best football in my career. I was doing really, really well. And the first game of the season, I got absolutely wiped out in a tackle at Burton away. And my ankle just blew up, and it was massive. And I shouldn't have really played on, really, but I did because the manager was asking me to play on because I was doing really well. And I wasn't at my best. I couldn't play. I couldn't hardly run, really, because my ankle was massive. And I played for about a month on it, and it eventually went down, but I was still playing on it for about 7 or 8 games, and I was awful. You know, and then I started to get stick from the fans. But they weren't to know, because I wasn't one to come out, well, I'm playing with an injury. You know, I just got on with it. And then it didn't really work out. And then Walsall came the following season. And what a club that is. You know, that's one of my favourite times in football, that season at Walsall. A lovely family-run club, great fans. lovely stadium, lovely training ground, just a lovely, lovely club, Walsall. I can't speak highly enough of them. Just unluckily for them, they're surrounded by massive clubs like Birmingham, Villa, Wolves, where if they do get good players, they just get picked, they get nicked. So they're always going to be a League One, League Two side. So yeah, it was a great time, really good time.
Obviously, you mentioned that successful time at Walsall, and then you got a move to Forest Green, who are similar sort of to Scunthorpe, not really Scunthorpe, but Stevenage, who are sort of a small club that have big ambitions. How would you rate your time at Forest Green?
Again, didn't really work out in the long run as well as I wanted to, but it's another lovely club, and it was a chance to move closer to home with a club that wanted to try and go places. And the first season was hard. I don't think they understood League Two. They didn't understand the Football League. And they went up with a very young side, a very inexperienced side. So the first game I lined up, and barring the centre half, the other 9 players, I had played more games than them combined. Not even in Football League, but like just their whole career. So I'm thinking, right, this could go either way, this. And we ended up staying up just. I think we survived with 3 or 4 games to go, but I think they underestimated the league. They underestimated how hard it was. And like I say previously, League Two is probably the hardest league I've played in. And it's a tough league. And as I say, yeah, they underestimated it, didn't realise how hard it would be. And I played in every single position that year for Forest Green. And again, the following season, fell out with the manager a little bit. I don't think he didn't realise the player he was getting. He thought I was going to be a different player than what he thought, where I was just get the ball and cross it. He didn't want me to cross the ball. He didn't. So it was just weird, really. It just didn't work out in the end. And I ended up going back to Walsall, and then from there to Weston. So yeah, it was a good year. It was a good year that first year. We ended up missing relegation, but it was a really good year. Played over 30 games. And it's a really nice club. I hope they do really well in the future. Because I think they understand the Football League now. They understand what it takes.
Obviously, you've said a few times where you've got left out of managers and stuff. How tough is it when How tough is it when you're not sort of involved in the first team and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's not because I'm a bad egg. I'm not that at all. I'm not one to be disruptive or anything. I think it's the fact that if I'm not involved, I hate that. I just want to play football. So I will go and ask a question. I will say, look, what do I need to do to get back in the team, or why am I out of the team? And sometimes, and also, I'm a bit of a leader. I like to speak. If the manager asks, he puts questions to the floor, I'm probably the first one to put my hand up and say, yeah, I've got something to say. So, because I'm not afraid to voice my opinion. So they shouldn't ask opinions from the players if they don't want to hear it. And I don't think certain managers like hearing some of the things I said, because I was honest, and I think you need honesty. I've always been brought up with honesty, and I think the only way you're going to succeed is people are honest in the game. So maybe sometimes I was a little bit too honest, and managers didn't like that. Only a couple managers, but it, as I say, it is tough, and I've always been the one to want to play every game that is available. So if I'm not involved, I ask questions, and maybe that doesn't. Managers don't like that.
And as you said, you went back on loan again to Walsall, and you said, you know, it was a great club, and obviously the fact that Walsall got you back again, the fact that they liked you, was it disappointing not for the deal to be permanent? Because it seemed like obviously you liked Walsall liked you. Was it disappointing that the deal wasn't permanent and it was a loan again?
Yeah, it was. It was difficult. It was. There's things that obviously us players don't know, and there's certain things that probably go on behind the scenes that you don't know why. But I wish I stayed there the first time around. And I think they missed a trick, Walsall, that year. They had a really good side that year. They had Joe Edwards, who's now at Plymouth Argyle, really, really good player. Kieran Morris, now at Tranmere, left. George Dobson went to Sunderland, left. There's Irhan Odsuma, probably one of the best players I've played with. He left, went to Charlton. So they missed a trick that year when we were there the first time around. If they kept that squad together, I think we could have done really well the next season. They didn't, and then the following year they got relegated. So it was a shame, really. But I did have the opportunity to stay that second time round, but there was an opportunity at Weston to start my next career to go to. I had 3 or 4 offers in League Two to stay in the game, be a League Two player, professional football player. But there'd be 1 year, and then that soon comes around. You soon get to January, and you're thinking, right, my contract finishes in 6 months. Now what do I do? And I thought I had a great opportunity to go to Weston. They offered me a few years, a great opportunity at school to work out doing football there. And I thought it was a great opportunity to go and start my next career after football, instead of doing a year here, then a year there, then a year there, moving my family around again. Because that's a hard part of being a footballer, is moving around all the time, every couple of years, moving your family. So it was a good opportunity to come all the way home to Somerset and start my next chapter.
Yeah, obviously you left Forest Green, and you say you went down to Weston Super Mare, where you've been a player, assistant manager. She mentioned the sort of League Two offers you had. How tough was the decision? Obviously, you want to get into sort of management and stuff like that, but was it a tough decision to obviously go out of the league? Because Weston Super Mare, obviously, they used to be in the Conference South, but now in the 7th tier. Was it a tough decision to drop quite 3 divisions, actually? Yeah.
Not a tough decision, just a decision to make what my next step was. Like I just previously said, what my next chapter looked like. And I could have done another year in League Two, then nicked another year in League Two, then another year. And by the time you're 35 and you're thinking, right, now what do I do? Whereas I'm 32 now, I was 31 when I took that opportunity to go and start my managerial coaching career at a club that I know, with a manager that I trust and know as well. So, and I had a really good opportunity to work at a really good school coaching the first team there. And it just worked for me, really. My wife and I've got a young daughter. We moved home, so they're near a family. She's got her own business. So it kind of just, it was the right time to come out of the game. I thought I'd miss it, but I haven't really missed the professional game, because I think unless you're in that top percentage where you're Premier League, top end of the Championship, where you can earn money to change your life and not play again and pick your golf clubs up at 35 and play golf. In League One, League Two, you can't do that. You've got to have a career after football. And I don't think people understand that we get paid good money at League Two, League One, but nothing's going to change your life. And your life is almost upside down, because you earn the money early on in your life. Whereas people then go for college, go to uni, get a job, and they build their progression up. So it's a little bit upside down, but as I say, it was a great opportunity to come out of the game, and I haven't missed it at all, to be honest with you. I've loved every minute of being at Weston and learning my trade as a coach, assistant manager, and working at a school alongside that.
And you're obviously the assistant manager now. But at some clubs with managers, sort of being the assistant, you're sort of a second manager. Do you feel like that you still get to voice your opinions as well as the manager voices your opinions?
Yeah, we worked really well, me and Scott Bartlett. He was the youth team manager at Forest Green, so I worked with him when I was out of the fold towards the end of the season and the second season at Forest Green. I did a lot with the reserves, so I was working really close with him. I was coaching his under-13s team. He asked me to coach them for 2 years, so we knew each other, and we both like to see the game played in the same way. And he's been brilliant for me. So he's the manager. He understands all the ins and outs of football as well, like the legal side, the money side, the budgets, the handling of staff, the groundsman, all that little thing that obviously I wouldn't really know at the moment. And he's been teaching me, giving me advice. So if he makes a decision, he'll explain it to me to let me know, understand why he's making that decision, or he'll give me little jobs to do, like ring players, to talk to them about certain things. So he's teaching me. So he's like a mentor to me, and I've loved every minute of that. So I think me and him could go on and work together for years, a lot of years to come, really.
What have you thought of your performance, because you're still playing, and your team's performance this season?
It's been tough, because you've got to get that balance between playing and being the assistant manager as well. So you still want to be one of the lads, but then you've also got to be also a bit more separated from them. So that's been hard bit of it, but it's been great. I finished top goal scorer. I got 14 before the coronavirus kicked in, so I was having a good season that way. I played in every position. I like to think I can play in every position and help out the team. So if I need to fill in at right back, I'll fill in there, or left midfield, I'll fill in there, or I played number 10 role or up front. So it's been great. And yeah, it's non-league football is special, because it's close, it's compact, you're close with the fans, especially being at home. Obviously, a lot of my friends are around here, they get to come and watch. A lot of my family get to come and watch. So it's been really good. And it's a really good club, Weston. And hopefully we can progress on up the leagues in the next couple of years.
And obviously, I believe your season's been null and voided. So what does that mean for next season in terms of recruiting, who you're keeping at the club, who you're not keeping at the club? What does that mean for that?
It's weird, isn't it? I think every club's going to find it. It's the not knowing the timescale. Because if we had a timescale saying, right, in September you'll be back, at least we know then we can work to that timescale. But not knowing when and how we're going to come back is a really weird thing. So we tried to go on as a bit as normal, make decisions on players we want to keep, that we don't want to keep. So we've been doing that, and then trying to talk to players, but you can't offer them anything like a contract or anything in writing just yet, because you don't know when that can start. So you make agreements with players, then you hope they'll keep, but there's no reason why they won't go, and another team might come in and offer them a bit more money and they just go there, because we can't legally bind them into a contract right now, because we just don't know when that's going to happen. So it's been weird. It's a really weird time, but we're not the only side, are we? Everybody in football is facing these difficulties. So yeah, we're just trying to go about as normal, talk to people, players that we really like, but we're really happy with our squad. We did a lot of building. Last summer we took over, we had 5 players, 2 of them were goalkeepers. So we had to bring a lot of players in. We did. You're going to get a few wrong, not because they're bad people, but because they just don't suit the style that we want to play. And then just before Christmas, we figured it out. We got everybody we wanted to, and then we had a settled squad up until the stop. And we probably need 2 or 3 players, and that's it. So we're lucky that we don't need a whole new team. We just need 2 or 3 players really to come in and complement what we've already got. And I'm sure we'll have a really successful season whenever that starts.
Looking to the future, you recently turned 32. How old do you think you can be and still sort of be a manager and also play as well?
I think I could go on. I don't want to stop. I love football, and I think that'll be the toughest thing for me, is when I have to stop completely, and I don't really want to think about it really. So I'm just going to play as long as my body can do it. I will play. If that means I have to go a bit further back down the pitch to centre back or a sweeper, so I can get other people to do my running, then that's what I have to do. But as I've gone through the game, you collect it and you up upstairs, and I've got a lot more experience. I can read the game a lot more now. So I played at centre half, and I'm good at centre half, so I can read the game. So I don't have to do a lot of running, but I also like being in midfield, because I like getting forward. I like shooting, scoring goals, and being involved at both ends of the pitch. So while I'm quite a fit guy, so while my body allows me to, I'm going to carry on doing that.
And in terms of like the dream, what is the dream for you as going on in management? What is the dream?
I want to be happy, and that's the biggest thing I've felt the last few years of my professional career, Forest Green, Scunthorpe. I realised I just want to be happy, and if that's staying at Weston for 10 years and staying at the school I teach at, and I'm happy, then I'll do it. But if the opportunity comes to go to a really good club higher up, then I'll be silly not to think about that as well, because ultimately I love football and I want to be involved in football. So if I can get into the Football League as a manager, then brilliant. I think I've got a lot to offer. I think I've got a lot upstairs that I can really give to people and players, but I just want to be happy. And at the moment, I'm really happy at Weston. I'm really happy at the school I'm teaching at. And if that means I stay here and do that for the rest of my football career or life, so to speak, then I'll just do that. Just be happy is the biggest thing I'd say.
Do you want to go for your best 11?
Yeah, good. Best 11. I had the rest down. It's good. So it was a tough one. I got a couple of players in each one, but I went for Sam Johnson in goal. I think Kingy went for him as well. I saw the Kingy interview, and he went for him as well. I could have gone for Stuckey, Torsten Stuckmann, 6'7" German, one of my really, really good friends. But Sam was so good at the simple things where, as a defender, it made life easier for you. So he wasn't the loudest, or he wasn't the most confident, but you just trusted him. You knew he was all right. So little things where keepers parry it, they don't catch it, they make the decision to parry it, they parry it out for a throw-in. Instead of parrying it into the path where defenders and strikers have to come and clear it up, you knew that if a striker had been coming at him, he made the decision, right, I'm going to catch him, I'm going to parry it away. So as a defender, you're not always thinking, oh my God, where's he going to parry this? So that was a big thing for me. Back 4, I went right back Ronnie Henry. I could have picked Scott Wiseman, who's the fastest white man I've ever seen. He's so fast. But I went with Ronnie Henry, John Ashton centre-back, with Mark Roberts centre-back, and then probably can't pick myself at left-back, so I picked Darius Charles at left-back. Those 4 players me at left back were what we did at Stevenage were incredible. The amount of clean sheets we kept, the amount of when we won the conference, the last 14 games we conceded 2 goals. That's just mental. That's incredible. So teams weren't even having shots at us at the end. We were letting people shoot just because we felt sorry for them, which is weird. So Ronnie Henry just Mr. Consistent, never gave the ball away. John Ashton would head a brick wall. He was mental. The amount of scars and bandages he had around his head for that season, incredible. Mark Roberts, leader of men, just an absolute. I can't speak highly enough of Robbo. Again, one of my best friends. He came to us as a right-sided centre-half, and he ended up being a left-sided centre-half because Graham Wesley made him practice with his left foot, and his left foot became better than his right foot. And then Darius at left-back, because I can't pick myself. He could play. He's now at Wickham. He could play left back, left midfield, or up front. So I'd have him in my side. So we were chasing the game. I could stick him up front, and he's just a really good lad, really good defender. 1v1, you couldn't get past him. I went 3 midfield or a 4-2-3-1. I went 2 holders. John Welsh. He was an absolute linchpin. So when I like to play an attacking fullback, so when you've got 2 attacking fullbacks, you need somebody who's going to sit there and just mop everything up. And John Welsh was just so good at it. He read the game just incredibly. So every time people broke on us, he'd just mop it up. He'll pick second balls up. He'll be the right place to tackle. He just knew the right place to be all the time. And he was a really good football player as well. He never gave the ball away. Alongside him, I'll have Michael Boswick, who's now at Lincoln. Absolute rocket foot. As soon as he's in training, he got on his right foot, everybody would dive out of the way. No one would try and get in the way. Even the keeper would get out of the way because he could hit the ball so hard. And again, he was at his thighs, his quads were just massive. He used to do a lot of horse riding with his little daughter, so his legs got massive. So I'd have him in there just because of the fight. If he needed to fight, he'd get stuck in, he'll head it, he'll kick it. And if he wanted to play, he could play as well. Wide left, I'd have Paul Gallagher. He was probably one of the best players I played with. Incredible. He could put a ball wherever he wanted it. If he wanted it on a 6-punt 60 yards away, he'd hit it every time. And me and him worked really well together on the left side of Preston's attacking side. Literally all my job was by Simon Grayson. Lairdy, every time you get it, pass it to Gally and run round him. I went, what? To get the ball back? He went, no, just a decoy so Gally can cut in on his right foot and just curl it to the back post for Joey Garner or Kevin Davis or whatever. So he was just excellent. Set pieces, unbelievable. On the right side, I'd have Luke Freeman. Again, both wingers here. Gally's a right-footed player on the left, and Luke Freeman's a lefty player on the right. Luke Freeman came to us as a young lad from QPR, and he was exceptional. You just knew he'd go and play in the Premier League, which he's doing now. He could go either way, go left foot, right foot. He was quick, he was sharp. And the biggest thing for me, he would work his nuts off. So he would up, back. He'd help you out defensively. Next second, he'd be up, put the cross in. There's a cross coming from the other side, he'd be in the back post. You know, he had boundless energy. So he was brilliant. And number 10, I really struggled with this. I'd either have Joel Byron or Erhan Otsuma, or even Jermaine Beckford, really. But I went with Otsuma just because he was about 5'1". Well, he was 5 foot, but he was just incredible. And we had a really good connection at Walsall. Every time he got on his left foot, I'd make a darting run, and he would just pick me out every time. And he was, when you're in a game where it's tight and it's 0-0, you're drawing, you need somebody who's going to create a bit of magic, and he would always do that. He would, like that, he would change a game. And he was just incredible. And for someone so little, he was just absolutely incredible. He could score from the halfway line, he could score tap-ins, he could flick it over your head, he could put it through your legs, he could do everything here. And so, a really good player. But I could have put Joel Byram in there as well, because his left foot was incredible. I've never seen anybody control a game from the centre circle. He wouldn't move out the centre circle, but he'd control the game. I don't know how he did it. And then up front, I'd have Joey Garner. He is horrendous to play against. So if you're going to win the header and he had no chance of winning it, he'd head the back of your head just to make it hard for you, because he could play up front of his own. He'll chase it, he'll hold it up, he'll be backing into defenders. As soon as you put a cross in, he'll die. He literally would die to score a goal. So, and he's another really good lad, Joey Garner, one of my best friends again. Been lucky to make some really good friends through the game, and he's up there in my top 5. So Joe Garner up front on his own, scoring all the goals. So yeah, that's probably my team. There's a lot of players I could have put in there really, but that's probably, looking back, a really good side that I played with, been lucky enough to play with.
And if you had to pick one manager from your career, who would that be?
Easy, that'd be Graham Wesley again. Most people don't like him. Some people do. He was brilliant for me. He would do anything. So a quick story. I don't have a lot of time, but I broke a pair of boots in a game, a white pair of Nikes that I loved, and I played every game, trained in them every day, and they broke. And after the game, I was like, he's like, "What's wrong, Laird?" I went, "Oh, Gaffer, my boots are broke." Thought nothing of it. Next day, turned up at the training ground. In my place, there's 3 boxes of boots, all the same boots that I broke. He just went out, bought me 3 pairs, and put them on my peg for the next day in training. You know, little things like that where if you bought into it and worked hard for him, he'd look after you endlessly. He'd do anything for you. So just a little thing like that, he was just brilliant. And he made me believe that I could play in the Premier League. Well, I know I wasn't good enough, but he made me believe I could. And he taught me so many things on and off the field. And he's really made me the person I am today, not just a footballer, but as a person, as a human being as well. So yeah, Graham Wesley.
Obviously, thanks for your time, Scott. All the best with Weston Super Mare if you're there. See you the next couple of years. All the best. Cheers for your time, Scott.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
No worries, Scott. Cheers.